Hello, welcome to Wardrobe School. This is where you learn how to sew and upcycle clothing for yourself or to sell. Today, this video is special for you who wants to sell your creations. If you started selling already or if you want to start, I want to encourage you to do so because the more I research about the clothing waste, the fashion industry, the fast fashion, and all of that, I get more and more uh, excited, and I want to push more and more people to create small brands, sustainable brands, and recycle clothing. We really don't need any new clothing. We do want to wear new clothing. I know, everyone likes to shop and wear new stuff, but these new designs don't need to be made from new materials. So we don't need to keep creating fabric and stuff. We can use the stuff that's sitting around to recreate and use those amazing materials that are going to trash, basically, right? So this video is to help you with. I have 3 tips to give it to you. So how you can blow the what do you call blow the socks off of your customers, right? So either if you haven't started yet or if you have and you want to like blow people's minds, because that's the thing I keep saying about blowing the mind, because I feel like for upcycling, in my experience, I've been doing this for years, right? And when a customer sees something, they're like, wow, this is like a recycled piece. It's very cool. So, and then that helps them to buy, that helps them to appreciate, also helps them believe that they can wear recycled clothes, that they don't need to buy new clothes from stores that are, just like really made from all the bad stuff out there, right? The polyester and all that stuff. So, my first tip is for you to create a brand based in creativity, right? So use your creativity, because as I said, for you to amaze the people, amaze, and not even if you don't want to sell, that applies to you as well. If you want to give to people, or if you just do as like a hobby of like for your to pass your time and stuff, it's still like you want people to like what you make, right? And use your creativity, and also your if you are creating a brand, do it based on creativity, because that's what is going to make that's what's going to make us conquer the fashion industry, right? Because the fashion industry, yeah, of course there are brands and brands that are cool brands, that the classic ones, or the creative ones, the new ones, that the designer usually come up with really amazing cool amazing stuff, and that's why they sell. Some other brands have different tactics and ways to sell, but for us, we're so small. What we can do is to come up with really cool stuff that will make people remember us, right? That's why I talk about creativity so much. I think, for instance, like when I first started a long time ago, I used to sell bags. I made like tote bags and stuff back in Brazil, and I lived there. And I remember there was this girl, her name was Thais, and she used to sell underwear, right? And she started really small. She had a tiny booth, and I bought her underwear. The thing about her underwear at that time was that she would put like crazy prints and stuff. So you know how nowadays like we have all sorts of panties and all sorts of underwear, right? But back in the day, it was she would just like it wasn't very common, so that she stand out because of that. And also there was one specific pair of underwear that I had. I might still have it. It was so she used to screen print on the panty, and it said yes and no. So the no, it was black, printed in black ink, and the yes was printed on this neon. It was like light. You would show up when it had light powered. Like when it's, I don't even know how to explain that, but the ink would power up and light it when it was in light. So then when the light turns off, it said yes, yes, yes on the painting. So you got the joke, right? So it was no printed in black that you could see all the time, but then when you turn the lights off, the yes, yes, yes would show up, and the black would disappear. That made her so known. I don't even know if she created this. I think she did, or if she copied from somebody, but I'm pretty sure like she was known for that, and she built and she grew so much. I'm sure like now she has a big brand and all, because I remember like her booth just grew. Then she opened a store, then she opened other stores. That was like the beginning of 2000s or the 90s or something. But it was, she started with almost no money, making underwear that was little, so it's like a very little investment. It wasn't recycled, obviously, but just so you have an idea, everyone knew her because of those fun uh, prints and stuff that she did on underwear, right? So the second tip. Now, before the second tip, would you just give a like to this video, share with the friends that you think could use the tips, and let's spread the word, right? Also, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, all right? So now let's go to the second tip. When you're upcycling something, I like to say, make it look like it's not what it looks like. So it's cool if you make a piece that's gonna amaze people, right? That's gonna blow their socks off. So if you make something looks like it's oh my god, this was a shirt, so for instance, this piece I made, it's on my Instagram, you can see, is made from two shirts. You kind of can tell that this is a shirt, but the print doesn't really show how it's a shirt. And when you tell a customer, look, when you tell your customer, if you are in person, right, selling at a show, or even if you write that on your description on your website on Etsy or something, and you say this is made from a shirt, and that doesn't look like a shirt, they are like, wow, this is really cool. And for some reason, people want to be part of that. First, a lot of people care about the environment, about the problem that we're having with fast fashion, but also they like to be part. When it's like clever or neat, things that they find like, wow, this is really cool. They want to be part of that, and they want to keep that, and then they buy it, right? So that's a very good selling point for your piece, but also it's a good thing for you to be reminded of, just like I said in the first tip. So make it look like it's not what it looks like, right? Try always to transform. A lot of recycling, upcycling is just like, and you can see I have a lot of tutorials and stuff on how to do like simple upcycling. Sometimes it's just you just like grab a piece that it's because that's how I do, at least, right? I choose I thrift and choose pieces that are made out of natural materials because it's better for washing, it's better, for many reasons. And then sometimes I just do a little detail. I'll print something or embroider something or just change. There was a time back in the 2008, 2010, that time, that was really short dresses and short skirts was very trendy. So then I would just buy dresses that are long or skirts that are long and crop it. And that made the selling point. People are like, oh, the girls are like, oh, cool. It's like those mini skirts. Then they like that, right? Now, currently, like it's puffy sleeve. So as much as I can make puffy sleeve, transform something into puffy sleeve, great, because they like puffy sleeve, and then it sells. But I was saying, like, you can just do a little change that it's really not gonna make it look like it's not what it looks like. It's a shirt. You just added something to it. It's nothing different, right? But when you do transform so much, it would take more time, and you can charge more for that garment. But that sometimes those pieces on your collection, sometimes those are the ones that are going to attract the people. They're going to make them like, wow, this is really cool. You're very clever. So, and you're like, how do I do that? Well, you can follow me because I have a lot of those ideas, and also like practice, right? The more you practice, the more you try out and like figure out how the construction of the garments work, the thrifted ones, you can make new ones from them, right? I only came up with the idea of this. This was I've never seen anyone doing that. Maybe somebody ever already done it, but I've never seen it. To me, this is my idea. So I looked at the shirt once. I was like, what can I do with this shirt? And I realized that the armhole of a shirt, it's kind of like the crotch of a pant. So then I transformed and made that work like that. And everyone who says that, every time I make one, I sell it. This one I haven't put it out for sale yet, but I know if I do, I'm gonna sell it because they're really amazed by how this was a shirt, and then I had this creativity, right, to do that. Okay, so that's the second tip. Okay, now the third tip is make it well finished. And why I say that? It's because when this is like a recycling thing. Think about it. Every time you think of recycling, it comes from, it's like trash that is being remade, isn't it? every time if you think of like recycling, you think of your recycling pile, you think of things that are not really new, and people like new stuff. So how can we make this movement work, that people should use more recycled pieces, right? Not only the ones that are like environmental conscious, but also the other ones. And the well, that's when the well finishing part comes in, because it's like, if you make very well finished and very nice, it looks just like a new piece. And then that also applies to, to the tip number two, because it's like, wow, it doesn't look like it was used. A lot of my pieces, like I had this shop in Brooklyn that was very cool. It wasn't cheap, and it didn't smell like, oh, I sold vintage clothing too, but it never really smelled like those like thrift stores or like vintage shops, that has like that moldy kind of smell. It was all because we washed everything, we made everything really nice, we ironed it, and made sure to every upcycled piece to be well finished with like, just like every garment. When you buy a garment, it's cheap, it's like all like poorly made, or it's a very nice made piece that costs more and is worth more, and people are willing to pay more for it. So in our case, we have to prove that our recycled pieces are as good as the new ones that come from a factory, and they even be better, because it's different and no one else is going to have the same piece, right? And if you're buying from a creator, it's different than you're buying from a corporation that made like 10, I don't even know how many they make, but probably like 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 of copies of the same one, right? When we make, how many people are going to have a jumpsuit like that? One person. I might make another one, but then it's going to be another color, because every shirt is different, and so make it well finished. Make sure that you iron your seams. Make sure you think of like ways to finish the inside to be nice. It doesn't need to take forever. You don't even need to have a serger, but you can use bias tape, you can do zigzag, you can do like French seams that it's like covered and well finished, and iron it. Ironing is the number one way to make a well finished piece. Okay? And a bonus tip for you is the packaging, right? That's just something that I've done, and that has to do with the first tip that was like to make a brand based on creativity, because you don't have to hire a designer to make you make your branding and all. It's good if you do, but if you're beginning now, if you're just like starting out, you don't really need to invest in that. You can't probably invest in that. So do one thing at a time. But there are creative things that you can do now that will make not only your kind of branding to people to remember about your brand, but also they are going to be happy, right, when they buy. And that feeling, think about emotions, is what you feel the most, is what you remember the most, right? Me, for instance, I don't know names of music. I'm not, all my friends are really into music, and I love music, but I don't really know who is the singer, who is the creator. I'm not one of those people that know a lot. But what I know is the feeling that I have. So when I have a song, when I hear a song, I'm like, oh, I like that song. It's like an emotion thing, right? It smells and all that stuff. It's like an emotion thing. So if you make the person, your client, your customer, right? Say you're like at a fair, like a show, in your booth, and you're selling, and you make them feel in a certain way. You're like, oh, this woman, she's really, or this man, whoever you are, or this person, is very cool. They have they took their time to do this and do that, and to pack. And then and this tip is about the packaging, right? You can create packaging for your creation that is a little different. So then they have that emotion, and that will make them remember you, talk about you, and come back, right? And so that's one thing I did, and I want to show you. When I had my first store in Brazil, where I sold bags and stuff, what we did is those little tote bags. That was the shopping bag. Look, now it has a lot of holes, because I watched my friend's cat once, and he was mad, and then he kept like cutting my bag, but I never get rid of it because I like it. And so then I printed my logo there, and there was like a little monoprint, and this is doesn't really have print, but this, how I made those. It was with in Brazil, there's a lot of stores that sell all types of fabric, and this is like jersey for pajamas, for underwear and pajama, and it's like kind of low quality. And in that time, we didn't really have this abundance of clothing like we have here in the US, and then we can just recycle. Nowadays, I could do this with recycled pieces, right? T-shirts and stuff. But this is pretty much like t-shirt material that was cheap, so I could buy it and make those little bags. My seamstress would like sew all of them on a serger, and then that was the shopping bag. And if I can't even explain to you how my customers love this. They were like, "Oh, this is so cute." In fact, I went back to Brazil. That was like a long time ago. It's like end of the 90s, 2000, that time, right? 20 years ago. And about 5 years ago, I was in Sao Paulo, in my city, at the party, and then I saw this lady wearing this one of those bags, my shopping bags, and I told her, I'm like, this is me. I used to it's Levi Maria, the same brand that I had here in the US, and she was like amazing. She's like, I love this bag. So all the customers love this. They talked about it, and they still wear it 20 years later, right? So that's what I'm saying. There are little things that you can do that will make you be remembered and bring that emotion and creativity. You'll be like connected to your creativity and help to sell your stuff, and and then we can make this movement moving forward, and more people wearing recycled clothes, right? So now is your turn to go and do something. So if you haven't, you're thinking about it, you're like discouraged, or maybe you have a show in a couple months or this month or something, go and come up with some ideas. Make sure your stuff is well finished. Make sure you are coming from a creativity point that is different and different than other people, and that's well made. And think about the packaging and all, and then you're going to be successful. All right, I wish you the best. I hope this video is helpful to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave the comments below. All right.